not constitutional. So that section of chapter 22, violates the Constitution, so it's not applicable. It's basically void. So, if, as far as the tribal council operations go, you need to consider both the Constitution and bylaws and Title Chapter 22, because they both talk about council should be, meetings should be conducted, and the procedures that you should be following. They both apply. But if it's a discrepancy, the Constitution and bylaws is what would govern.
So based on this situation, is there a discrepancy here?
I don't think so. I mean, here, are you talking about the 2/3 vote again, or?
Yeah, pertaining to this matter here at hand.
I don't think so, because the Constitution says for removal action, to remove a council member requires, 2/3 vote of the council members. The, chapter 22 changed that. So there's a conflict, because it doesn't, I don't think it even addresses it. All it talks about is a quorum in that one, section 2, number 4. That talks about a quorum, but the concept of a quorum is different than requirements for a 2/3 vote. A quorum is just however many people you need to be able to conduct business. A 2/3 vote is very specific on, for this one certain matter, the removal of a council member, that requires a 2/3 vote. If there is a requirement for a 2/3 vote, then you can just do a majority vote. So I don't see a discrepancy between those two on this subject.
I'd like to say something as a tribal member.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about the 2/3 vote. I mean, it's just simple math. You had 8 tribal council members. One was Maxine, because this was supposed to be her hearing. So you had 7 people. And if you know math, you would know this. So there was 4 for, 1 abstaining, and then 2 against. So that's, you count as 7 people voted. So you go with the majority that voted yes, which was 4, and 2/3 of that is 5. So you would have had to have 5 yes votes. That's just math. If you know math, you would know that with anything. So right there, it's a done deal, unless you guys are saying something else about the Constitution or whatever, but that's simple math. So that's what I have to say.
Okay. That's just what we were just talking about right here now, because there's 2 situations we just got them talking about there. And then this exact situation, it's different, and that's, I don't know, that's a part of it nobody's answering yet.
Well, a lot of times I see you're supposed to be talking about this, and then all this other stuff comes up. You don't stay on that item. And that day was supposed to be a hearing. The only people that were supposed to be talking was the council and Maxine, not everybody else. So to me, that wasn't a hearing. They should have been asked to talk if they needed to say something. But to me, that day, that's not how you hold a hearing.
That's kind of how.
And the vice chairman was arguing with people, and that's not right. So, either stick to the subject, because it just goes all crazy.
Well, that's a part of it, is that we're trying to get this thing clarified, but we still can't. You almost had it, I think, but we keep. what's gonna fix this, I think, just like I'm trying to ask Wes. Chapter 22 in the way, that's the only, how do you get around it? Like you talk about discrepancy, if there was a discrepancy. It kind of spells it all out in here, but, and I guess we all do understand is that the Constitution framework of our government, you roll back to that, because it's like your Constitution, if it's not within your Constitution, you look at your bylaws. If it's not within your bylaws, and then you have to create it, right? I mean, the authority in the Constitution gives you that authority to create something to better laws, policies, whatever. Isn't that the way it works? That's what a constitutional specialist told me. He said, you start with your Constitution. And she says, which all constitutions, it's like the United States Constitution, it's not really clear. So you go to your bylaws. If it's not within your bylaws, and then you take this other method of creating it, which the Constitution gives you that authority to. So the only thing we gotta that by your education and your legal thing, I think the reason why we have you here is all we need to know is chapter 22 mean anything? Because we keep referring back to the Constitution, so that's the idea I'm getting, is that chapter 22 doesn't mean nothing. Because we keep referring back to the Constitution. So explain that to us. Clear, just simply explain it.
Arlo, I think he's already explained everything. I don't know what you're trying to get at, but you guys wanted to know what the 2/3 vote is, and you're not hearing what you want to hear is what I'm taking. I understand it pretty well. He has explained the Constitution and bylaws. He's explained the 2/3 vote, but I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Okay, well, you can have to explain it to me.
You can't explain what you want to hear.
No, I asked you, it's a simple question, we're talking about the Constitution, yes, the Constitution, this Constitution, that, so what does chapter 22 mean? Does it not mean anything, or how does it, how do we, say it doesn't exist, or we don't have to go by it because of this or that? That's what I'm trying to understand, because we have a document in place.
Well, you've been as the chairman before, and you've been on council before too, Arlo. You know that the law and order code, you've been chairman. What the law, and this is where I've heard it from you also. All you chairmans have told me that the law and order code was there. Listen, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to tell you what a lot of you chairmans have told me. I've probably been through like 8-10 chairmen since I've been in here. And you guys all, say that this law and order code, the Constitution supersedes the law and order code. If it's not written in here, if it's not vague enough, then you refer to this law and order code and also to the Robert Rules of Order. That's how I've been explained to it from past councils and past chairmans.
I agree with you. That's the point I'm trying to get across. I agree with you.
Then what do you want him to explain to you? Why aren't you explaining it?
How this works.
You're not making sense.
Because you don't understand.
I do understand. I just don't know where you're going with this.
Just trying to get it clarified.
It has been clarified the past 2 hours.
Okay, then what you said right there, you explained it to them, and it's like, turn it off. So, Wes, you heard that?
Yep.
Okay, so that's kind of the same thing, I guess, what I was asking, trying to get an answer from, and she answered it, is that if the Constitution isn't really clear, then we roll back to this.
Yep.
Problem solved.
So what is the definition of a two-thirds vote?
It kind of, see, that's where it is, it depends, but within the Robert's rules, it explains it. It clearly explains it. And just like Bonnie and I agreed on right now, is that this is in place, this clarifies it. This clarifies the Constitution, and it states in there the Robert's rules, and Robert's rules clearly explains it. And there's a diagram here too that gives the,
Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say
Here's the
Robert rules
breakdown.
clarified the two-thirds vote of the Constitution.
well, that's what it
That's
states.
yours,
That's
not
what it
mine.
states here in chapter 22.
So what is your answer? What is your answer, Arlo? What is the answer to the voting? What is, you got 4 for, one abstaining and 2 against. What do you come up with? What's your number? You tell us your number.
What my deal is, it's not my opinion. It's based on Robert's rules.
Well, I wanna hear it from you, what the 2/3 vote is, what you come up with. I told you how I look at it with math, how I understand it.
I understand.
Maybe you need to tell us.
Yes, and then just like I mentioned the other day was that, everything that I'm saying, it's not my opinion. It's based on documented, information. That's what it's based on. It's not based on my opinion, like you're trying to get me to say. It's not, I don't base it on my opinion. It's based on, documents that have been adopted, documents that are in place, that have been in place with our tribe all these years. That's what I go by. It's not based on my opinion.
Well, you make a decision, you vote.
So
you
right
argue
here it
for-
says,
I mean, I meant from the community, what is their, I mean, I don't understand. Do they not understand 2/3 vote, or how do they see it? What is their answer? If you guys didn't accept that petition, it's done.
here, the question you asked me is the table for determining majority and 2/3 vote. Numbers of votes casted, it says 6. And, 2/3 vote is calculated at 4. In accordance to the Robert's Rules of Order.
Maybe you need to translate it into Paiute. And when I went this way, tell us in Paiute.
Well, if you can't understand it in English, how are you gonna understand it in Paiute? Some of these words, there's no words, some of these words that they don't, it's not in Paiute, so you can't explain it like that. There's words in here that you can't translate to Paiute.
My thing is with this 2/3 vote, and I asked for a definition, I didn't get a definition, but from what I have read in black and white, is when you have a vote that is abstained, that is not a part of the total count. So that changes all these numbers. So can you read to me what a 2/3 vote says?
According to the Constitution. Explain to us what your understanding is. 2/3 vote of the council members.
No, I want, this is the thing, we talk about the Constitution, then we talk about chapter 22, where chapter 22 says that the tribe has adopted this, Robert's Rules of Orders. An adoption is, what is an adoption? Okay, so we're gonna go with this over this, because this isn't very clear. That's why we adopted this. This says Robert's Rules of Orders. Okay, now tell me, what does Robert's Rules of Orders say a 2/3 vote definition is?
But it doesn't say that in the
It
Constitution.
states 2/3 vote, this is in Robert's Rules of Order. A 2/3 vote means 2/3 of the votes cast.
And what was the number of the votes casted?
6.
There was 7, Jackie abstained, she voted abstaining.
See, what it says is 2/3 of the votes cast. Ignoring blanks, which should never be counted. This must not be confused with a vote of 2/3 of the members present. 2/3 of the members, term sometimes used in bylaws. See, so then what that means is that, you know, like it states in there, is 2/3 of the votes cast. It's based on the 2/3 that were votes that were cast, and like it states in here also, like, you know, I guess kind of clarifying what Bonnie said, it says, this must not be confused with a 2/3 vote of the members present. See, so there was 7 members, you know, like with the abstention vote. So the votes cast were 6 members. 1 against, 1 abstained, 4 for.
So what article says that the votes cast is a 2/3 vote in the Constitution?
The Constitution doesn't, that's the reason why, see, that's why I was asking these questions, trying to get them clarified. And that's why these things were adopted, is because the Constitution doesn't clarify it.
But it says in black and white, 2/3 vote of the council members.
Yeah.
But you
Members.
didn't vote.
But it's still, regardless of whether I voted or not, you still fell short of the 4 vote.
That would be counting your vote.
No,
Yes,
it doesn't, it wouldn't. I didn't vote.
See?
So, cause it was 4-1-2,
Yeah, see?
4-4.
See, that's what
4-4.
I'm saying. That's what the Constitution creates.
Exactly.
It creates people's own opinion of it. See, how many different opinions we have of that right now?
So when,
So-
so what councilman is gonna start that process of changing this constitution? When are they gonna start working on that? Or who's gonna work on that? Cause we're gonna sit here for years and years, and you guys said you were gonna make a change.
And we got elections coming up this fall.
And it takes years to change those things, but I haven't seen anybody try to change it.
Yeah, because I think the only time we talk about it is when we run into situations like this. Instead of bringing it up, saying we need to do this thing and start working on it. Heck, we don't even have meetings. So how the heck we gonna, make changes like that? 'Cause
Yourself?
we have to.
You don't need people to
Need a
help
lot
you
of
read.
people.
Everybody knows how to read.
And then
You
we're-
can start changing it
and then
just
we're-
like I am.
and then we're
I'm
gonna
working
do
on the
that.
personnel policy by myself.
And we'll still end up like this again.
But somebody's gotta try.
I don't know, that's just part of it, that's why I was trying to get into this, is for us to understand it. We don't understand it, that's why we're talking this way, because we don't
Even when
understand.
you change it, it's not gonna happen right away. It's gonna take years and years for the legislature to pass it. If it's not happening in 2-3 years.
No, it's not, but if they get it started now, maybe when I'm an elder, maybe it will be changed. It's for our kids, not just because you wanna talk right now. Don't look just right here at the tip of your nose, look way down there of our future.
Yes.
Well, Arlo, like I said, the Constitution bylaw is it's above everything. It's above chapter 22, everything. That's what we go on, we base things on. And like I told you guys, there's 2 options, I didn't bring it up. Either get Wes, Barbara, and our judge together and have them interpret it, or either, there was another one, but if you go according to this, the other one was like, when we had that meeting at that time, the council did not accept the petition at all, anytime during that time, it was not accepted. And that's what you're supposed to do, is you're supposed to accept the petition and then go from there. on a renewal basis, but that was good. So those are the two options, you know, that I see. And then it spells it out here in, at chapter 22 under 47, where you could null it and void the whole thing too. So it's up to the council how they will handle it, either give their opinions instead of just only the West, because Barbara's knowledgeable about it, the judge is knowledgeable about it, and, you know, for some reason, if she was taken out, then she has the option to take it to court, and we could always get another, judge to hear the case. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here talking about it, but like I said, I've been through courts regarding the situation, and we have about 3 or 4 of them, where a person was removed.
And we never learned.
I'd like to make a motion to definitely postpone this item of the 2/3 vote.
Based on.
To postpone the motion, I mean, 2/3 vote. Or you can say why.
So what are we gonna do? Continue on another meeting, continue on?
It's already going on 4 months.
Because we don't understand?
We don't understand.
Nobody's still clarified. Well, no, I guess it's not. So.
Mr. Chairman, I stated a motion on the floor.
Yes, can you repeat it, Bill?
I move to table this item with a 2/3 vote indefinitely.
Indefinitely. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table this matter. What was the word again, Bill? Indefinitely. The motion on the table.
I'll second that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Lonnie seconds the motion. Any discussion? Any other discussion? Okay, we'll call for a vote. All 4?
Billy, 4.
2, 4. Against? 3. Abstain?
I abstain.
2 abstentions.
3, right?
Motion fails.
What was the vote?
3 against, 2 abstentions, and 2 for.
Thanks.
That's only 7, right?
No, 3 abstentions.
3
3
Oh,
abstentions,
okay.
Bill.
abstentions.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Anybody else have?
I'd like to make a motion to confirm the 2/3 vote on the chairman, chairperson removal at the October 26, 2022 tribal council meeting, where the motion was made and seconded based on chapter 22, tribal government amendment, section 4, tribal council rules of order of the tribal law and order code.
Okay, there's a motion on the table on the floor.
I'll second it.
There's a second by Lorena. Any further discussion?
Point of question, can the motion be restated?
Motion.
The motion was to confirm the two-thirds vote on chairperson removal at October 26, 2022 council meeting minutes, where the motion was made and seconded based on chapter 22, tribal government amended, section 4, tribal council rules of order of the tribal law and order code.
Thank you.
Okay, and no, there's no other discussion? Take a vote. All four? Two, three, huh?
I'm voting for it.
Okay, four. Against? Bill?
Abstain.
Abstain? Abstentions?
Oh, I abstain.
Okay, the vote is 4-4, 1 against, 3 abstentions. The motion passes.
That's impossible. There's no second.
Yeah, there was a
And
second.
motion.
Lorena seconded.
Who seconded it?
Lorena.
Okay, okay. So what does that resolve?
What's that, Bill?
What does it resolve? It only basically, the vote's still the same as it was on the 26th.
How
That
can I
doesn't mean
carry?
it met the constitutional threshold.
Nope. Yep, back to the same thing.
What was the vote on?
It was 4-1-3. Well, I guess Bill, that motion passed and stuff based on that, and it was based on chapter 22, and section 4 of the law and order code.
But it didn't say what the two-thirds vote was, we just mentioned it. And that's why I asked for a restatement of the question.
I guess it explains it within chapter 22, under section 4, Tribal Council Rules of Order, and clarifies it under legislative intent, so that any rules of parliamentary procedures are clearly identified.
So what's the, I get that, but what I'm saying is, what was the two-thirds vote then?
It doesn't.
I didn't hear that. And if it could be stated for the record,
It's contained in
what was the vote? What's the number?
in the meeting.
Well, what was that number? Well, I would like that number repeated for the record.
It was 4-4, 1 against, 1 abstain, 2 abstain.
3.
But that doesn't establish what the two-thirds vote was.
It doesn't take a two-thirds vote. A motion doesn't take a two-thirds vote.
Well, Bill, I guess it's, in accordance to the Robert's Rules of Order. I mean, that's the document that we see.
Well, I'm looking for a number. Is it 4 like you guys are stating? I didn't hear that. I wanted, for the record, I wanted to know what the number is.
Yes, 4.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill, 4.
So the two-thirds affirmative vote is 4.
In accordance to the Robert's Rules of Order.
According to the Constitution. I just wanted to make it clear for the record as well.
In accordance to the Robert's Rules of Order that pertain to chapter 22. That's,
Okay,
All right.
yeah, that's what, as pertains to the table for determining majority and two-thirds vote in accordance to Robert's Rules of Order, which have been adopted by.
so what does that mean now? Does that mean that our chairman's removed?
Yes.
So now what do we do?
What's that, Bill?
So now what do we do? Who wants to be the chairman? I'll nominate him right now.
I do.
Who is that?
Kurt's,
I second that.
Okay, now, if that happens, now we're gonna have to determine that seat vacant. Seat vacant.
But doesn't the Constitution and bylaws supersede the Robert's Rules of Orders?
No.
Robert's Rules of Orders is parliamentary to conduct a business meeting. And when did the tribe adopt that?
1988.
1988?
But that's where that's gonna head, but against the Constitution, the Robert Rules of Order. But the Constitution is the main one that we follow.
Exactly.
So it brings back to this, to the attention for the tribal members. There was a council member that stated earlier that when we're in this kind of situation, it stops everything. Monetary requests, everything. Maybe some of you guys have a daughter, a husband, a brother that's having a request up here, it's an emergency predicament. So with the council doing this, it's pushing everything back. That's what you guys gotta think about. Is it worth it to argue on the two-thirds vote all the way through when everything else is going past us? Why he up there is talking about putting a casino up there. Fort Hall is doing the same thing. They're working with each other. They're not working against each other. On little pitty-patty things like this we're talking about right now. They're leaving us behind. We gotta think about that. The election's coming up this fall. Is it worth it to hold back everything? To me, I don't think it's worth it. If you wanna do something, put your name in to run for council. Rather than having our tribal members suffer. There's people that need help out there. They can't get no help because our council is against, they're talking about removing our term and all that. Somebody's suffering, and that's our tribal members. If you guys think it's worth your suffering, so let it happen that way.
Question back here.
Yes.
You know, this has been on my mind all these few months. Every time you don't have a quorum, I come up every now and then. I wanted to say something, but I can't, there's no quorum. And I end up going back, or I'll be coming halfway, and people call me, there's no quorum. It gets a person mad, you know. And the bottom line on this one is that lady right there, the way she is, you know, and everybody knows it. be smiling around like right now, like a little kid.
And what makes you better?
And
You're
then
supposed to be
listen.
her roadman.
Listen.
And you're talking her down like that.
This got nothing to
All right, I'm gonna flush, listen up! Stop right now, I'm gonna arrest you guys for disorderly conduct. Enough is enough. You are not going to go back and forth, do you understand me? That goes for both of you guys.
Talk. Sir,
You're starting a verbal argument, and I'm gonna end it right now.
Huh?
It's done, the argument is done. If you're gonna address something, address it to the council, do not bicker back and forth. Now, as you're addressing the council, go ahead.
You have the floor.
You ready? You want me to talk now?
I say address the council, go ahead.
Yeah, so you know what I was gonna say, you know, nothing, a lot of our people, it's frustrating how things are. And you know, if she would be a person, a leader, and if the people didn't want her, she should have just stepped down in a good way. And, you know, like whoever, like the family, it's hurting the family too. The family member, like the mother right there, arguments going on with the people is not good.
You know,
And the
people
mother here, you
know
know, our
that.
teaching is, you know, when you have kids, you gotta discipline them. If something's wrong, if something's not right, maybe you talk to them, you just step down, get out of it, you know, in a good way.
What makes you think I'm arguing?
I'm not
just
arguing.
bringing a point.
This is,
I'm not arguing.
yeah, I mean, this is taking, it's too long, for getting everybody all mad at one another, and we don't want that. We don't wanna be mad at one another. We're supposed to be good and get along with one another. That's what I'm trying to get at. And you know, with respect, she could have did that instead of the way it is right now, today, right here, nothing's been solved, nothing's done here at the business office. Like that, you know,
That's how I see it.
that's all I'm saying.
If you want, that's what you want.
When is the judge gonna be here?
Well, let's get our,
Can we move on to our next item on the agenda?
get our attorney to,
Yeah.
let's find out when.
No chairman, first bully,
Oh, okay, well, I guess we'll get on with the agenda. Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get on with the next, new business. Number 2, Wayland Track, page 13, approval challenge. We have documentation on this one.
They should have been in your last packets if you brought them. Who doesn't have them?
There's nothing in there.
All it has is Rick's letter or request.
Yeah, that.
That's all that's in here. Yeah, that's all that's in there. I was going on, asking based on the.
Okay, well, this was brought up since that last meeting. Everybody had to turn in their Hayland lease letters to me, and we did a thing before the meeting, well, a couple days before the meeting, and I put it down, and Ricky had only, as you see on in your packet, that first letter from Ricky, that's the original letter that I had received in my office. And it's dated and stamped by Shelby. She's not here today. But during the meeting, when we were getting on to H13, Ricky's name, Maxine had told me that Ricky put in for H13. I said, no, I didn't receive anything from him. Then she handed me, you see the second letter. She handed me this letter. And I told her I wasn't, I said, I never received that, so it's just David, because he never turned it in. But it went anyways, and he received that Hayland lease. Well, I voted against it, and I told Maxine why I voted against it, because I had a discrepancy with the last letter he had turned in right before the Hayland leases. Well, the next day I got with Shelby, and I looked at it, and I looked at both the letters. And the first letter, I asked Shelby to come into the office with Maxine, and I asked Shelby to look at these letters. I said, did you receive another letter from Ricky? She says, no, I only received the first letter. She said, I put the date wrong because she started on December 8th. It's dated December 1st, and she initialed it. And that's the original letter that I received. It was on my desk. And then I showed her the second letter. I said, did you receive another letter from Ricky? She said, no. And then she looked at it better, and I said, what do you see wrong with this second letter? And she looked at it. She goes, for one, the stamp's not the same as the original letter. She goes, and that is not my initials on the received stamp. Me and her are the only two people that have that stamp. As you can see, they're both the original letters, but if you look at the stamp, the last one's been altered, and Shelby states that is not her signature, and she never seen Ricky twice. And then this H13 was added onto the second letter.
Because the original is upside down.
Yeah, the original stamp is upside down. I have the original letter. And it's got Shelby, that's hers.
And the other one is right side up.
And then if you look at the second one, the stamp is upside down, is sitting the right way, and Shelby states that is not her signature. And she never seen the second letter that Ricky has submitted right before the Hayland leases were being looked at, when we received that letter. You want to talk about dishonest?
Okay, I've got something. I came here, and I was, I don't know exactly what date it was, but before we had a council meeting. Well, yeah. We never even got the table on this yet. It was last on the agenda. So before that even happened, I asked Maxine, I said, I'd still like to put in for page 13 too. Donna Hearn. I said, because we use that field a lot. And we have a corner for planning. Things like that. So we could use a little bit more passion. I gave her the letter. Then it came on, so when we got to the Hayland leases, it went through. But that's what happened on my side. I don't know how the staff got on the upside down or whatever. So that's all I can say. And I paid for it already, so. You know. Plus, on top of that, the year before that was 2023, 2022. I believe David had it, but he never utilized it, as far as I know. Before that, Arnold had it back in 2018, between 2018 and 2022, nobody utilized it. But there was cattle out there at that time, so that's why I put in for it. Because all these years I've been here, it seems like I never really had a chance to put in for hay or pasture, you know. The last couple of years, we just wintered our because hay's pretty expensive when you can buy it, especially by the truckload, $200-300 a ton. You know, and I know people don't have that much money. It's, right now, alfalfa's probably running I would say about $300 a ton, maybe better than that. So this is the first chance I've really had to put in for it. I got a few head. I gotta go someplace. I'm sorry I stepped on somebody's toe, maybe. But, you know.
So which one, Bonnie, I got a question. So which one is the one that she did sign on? The first one or the second one?
The first one,
The one that's upside down?
yes. I have the original one right here, like all the other ones I have. This is the original request he put in.
So all he did was just request for addition?
No, all it did was somebody took the stamp and re-stamped it upside down and, signed it for Shelby, put her initials on there. And she's not very happy with it.
Is that, forging her signature then?
Yes, it is.
But it couldn't, but the second one, the one that you guys are arguing about is the original stamp.
Yeah, we don't know who got the stamp. Maybe Ricky knows.
Like I said, you know, well, it come to a good question to me. I was here, sitting right here, when I had the paper, I didn't even see it. I said, I'd like to also put in for H13, it's okay. She took the paper. I was watching that too. And how could I get my hands on that stamp to stamp it? I sure could help him. You'd be able to notice my signature. If it was mine. Right here on my driver's license,
It's the date that's
that's my
interesting.
signature.
One is upside down, the other is right side up.
It might not be my full middle name, but it'll just be a D.
Somebody stamped it.
The question I have is, was that second letter, did it meet the deadline where the H13 was added?
No?
No, it was handed in at the meeting while we were starting to do, when we were doing the Hayland leases.
Because I've seen the copies of those letters, and it appears to me that they differ, and H13 was added later,
Mm-hmm.
but how much later and on what date, because there was a deadline.
And the stamp in here isn't even valid, December the 1st of 2022.
And on top of that too is like, you know,
Cause she said that she started on.
the tribal secretary, she wasn't here for a week because she was down in Reno at a ITCN conference, is what I was told. And I was also told that she really never attended the meetings. But that's just hearsay that I heard. You know, that's how I.
Stick to your hearsays,
I was
okay?
there too. I was there.
That's what I said. What I hear sometimes is just hearsay. I don't really say anything, but it's just, you know.
I was there this week, so I know
There's
there's
a-
meetings.
So there was a situation too, you know, like, everybody's gone that week, so you weren't able to turn it into the secretary and stuff.
We had a tribal secretary, Shelby's the one that stamped these, sticking up for him. This is what it is.
Well, I never knew that myself. I didn't know that because I waited until Monday morning, and first thing Monday morning I came in and I turned mine in because, and I explained to Maxine, I said, you know, there's nobody here last week. I tried to come in last week and nobody was here, so I took it, so I brought it in first thing Monday morning because the deadline was on Friday. So with nobody being here, and in accordance with what it states in there, is that the secretary is the one who has to receive it. So I never got any other notice, you know, to saying that, Shelby was taking the, position of the secretary. So that's one of the situations that happened too, so. And I believe there was a few others in that same predicament.
So what,
Kind of no fault of everybody's as far as, people not being here, they're supposed to be receiving them.
but the question I have still is, did they meet the deadline date?
No.
If they didn't, we should have never acted on them. And that just goes back to show the hypocrisy that we have on this council. We just got rid of the chairman because she signed on a agreement, a contract, and yet here we have council members trying to justify why it's okay for them to submit documentations for approval before the council.
When was it different?
Bill, it's not trying to justify, it's just telling you what had happened. There's no, I don't think there's any justification.
That's the justification for why you missed the deadline.
Well, what does a person do in a situation like that then, Bill?
He did meet the.
Lose out, I guess.
Huh?
Lose out.
Yeah,
That's what you guys
the deadline,
told, that's what you guys told David.
Because you don't have no, because you don't have people here that are supposed to be receiving these documents?
That's what you guys done to David with his contract. What's the difference with these
No, I'm
licenses?
asking you, Bill. Well, you're the one who brought that
No,
up.
I think you're trying to turn this around on me, Arlo. We had a tribal secretary
I'm
that
not
was
turning-
gonna, yeah, you are.
not
You're
turning around.
talking about your Gayland
I'd
lease.
like to add on to that too, Bill, if you're talking about David's contract. Okay, then.
Sounds like
His
abuse of
con-
authority on
his
the council
contract was
members.
for $5,000 some odd dollars, about 500 some.
But you are a councilman and you helped set the deadline, so you should have known
But
that.
the tribe approved,
Sounds like abuse of authority.
approved the check for $70,000. So the tribe lost out on 64,500 and some.
It's not about David, it's about that lease.
But no other tribal member has that privilege to bring documents to the council to get approved before the council, unless you're a councilman. That's wrong.
Well, Bill, you were there that day, you should have stopped it.
I was provided with the documentation Rick just admitted that he provided to the chairman.
As we were all brought, that was brought to all of us. Nothing was said at the time that this happened, but we should have dealt with it at that time. Shouldn't we have?
Just like.
That's just like we did today with Maxine. We should have dealt with, you guys should have dealt with it then.
Shouldn't we have, Bill?
I think you guys are overlooking what this is being brought to the table.
No, I'm not overlooking it.
Yeah, you are.
We haven't even made a decision on it yet, Vaughn.
Well, we're jumping to other things. When we're looking at this, what's in front of us right now.
Bonnie, did somebody
Well, everything's.
besides Shelby put her initials on there, is what they're saying?
Yes, I wish Shelby was here today, but she's not, and that is not her initial. She's never seen the second letter that Ricky had turned in to the chairwoman on that day.
So that's the main thing that the council has to look at, and Shelby has to come in and tell the council somebody forged her initials.
It's kind of throwing me off here because, it was submitted to us, but this letter here, it has December 1st, 22 on it, and it had H12. And then like Ricky was saying, he told Maxine about 13, and then now 13 popped on it, and it has December 1st stamped on it too, so I don't know what really happened.
The thing though you're overlooking is what I'm hearing is, the main thing is forging somebody's initials. That's against the law.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to go into an executive one day we have to invite Shelby here and look into the possible forgery of her
That's not the issue. The issue is that we issued a lease that we should never have done.
After the deadline. See, if you have a deadline on a Friday and you turn it in on Monday, a council would look at it and say, hey, sorry, you didn't turn it in. See, Arlo, like your lease you had in Jacometto, you didn't put her up for it, and the Snaps got it. Now they're on it right now. See, if it was the other way, they would say, wait a minute, Arlo, we're not gonna worry about the deadline. We'll give it to you a week later. That's the same situation.
Well, this is kind of a little bit different, but like I said, I guess we'll have to discuss that next time, and I know it's not gonna be a big deal, because, you know, like I said, when the staff were down there, they mentioned, and I don't know, they probably could provide that documentation there that they gave out to notify people what they have to do, because that's what's supposed to be done. Somebody else had authority to take care of things. Provide them a memo. Give it to me later. They can verify that, like they don't have to, in the work, if you come in, the other one, they can even post it. And then that way, you know, everything's clearly stated, you stand by your deadline date, but this other way, there was nothing like that at all. So, that's like I said, that's why we got rushed in, and there was a few other people who came in a little late because of the, you know, the staff not being there that week, and the deadline was on Friday. Deadline was on Friday.
Everybody submitted all their stuff online.
Matt was telling me that.
No, it was just you.
That's what she told me.
I'm the one that's stamped in the bottom, so I know.
I'd also like to add to a lot of this, or some of this, is that I know someplace along the line I've seen that where there was a note in there that the people that are with the Stockmen's Association should more or less have priority on the haylands, but which was never ever, you know, used. And that's a deal too. And I've never ever touched this issue, nothing like that. There's another thing.
Well, actually, the Constitution says that cooperative associations have first priority. That means the association has to put in for it, not an individual member. So I didn't see any requests made by the association. So that rule can't apply.
And while we're talking about the hayland leases, here's another point. You're not supposed to be grazing on Hearn or Jacometto unless you have a lease in your name. If you want to graze in Hearn or Jacometto, you need to have a lease agreement with that leasee down there. And council has to pass it. And go to the bureau and come back. That's, if you wanna get to it, the new council can get to it. Cause you guys don't have no time, this fall's coming. It's gonna be election time. And then in there it says that if you run cattle down there and you don't have a lease down there, that leaseholder can be canceled. So you guys wanna get in that, the new council we can send down that down their way and they can look into it.
And that applies to everything within the.
Right, that applies down to Hearn and Jacometto.
Your fences, your ditches.
That's it.
Even pertains to the range up here, you know, all of that stuff, it pertains to
So
everything.
that's, if you wanna get in, open a can of worms, that's what we can do.
Exactly.
Another thing we need to look at down there with the leases is if they are allowed around animals. If they have been convicted of any kind of felony stealing cattle, they are not supposed to have any leases down there. That needs to be brought up again with the bureau.
But, our lease agreements need to be revisited, and there's a lot of things I think clear. I mean, a long time ago they were clear, people understood that, if somebody's over, it's expensive, our partners can look at it and they go do their part and stuff like that. It's gotta be written in there now, everything's gotta be written in there. So it does have to be revisited. Or it should be. So.
I have a comment.
What's the council's?
Most of them before we are illegally going out have a step for the oil we. That's the reason why that's why. Those are the things that's happening. It's happening right before your eyes.
We'll look into that and see what had happened. And so, what's the consensus of the council on this matter?
I'd like to move to reconsider the vote that provided the lease to Ricky Crutcher.
Do we got a situation too, like as far as
I'm following parliamentary procedure under the Robert's Rules of Order. I move that we reconsider the vote that provided the lease to Ricky Crutcher.
the Constitution overrules the Robert's rules, you say?
I'd like to make a comment.
Not according to your vote today.
That week that everybody was at IPC and I came here, there was nobody here. The only person that was here was Shelby and Bill Lynn and Park Club. And Dwayne was heading out. Those were the only three staff that was here. So I was here. I asked Shelby, I talked to her, and she said that everybody was out all week. So there was no way you can do business with anybody here. The secretary, everybody was gone. The chairwoman.
Well, Bill, I believe contesting this situation is based on the possible forgery of employees.
Well, that's a separate matter from my motion.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Is that to be able to take care of this thing, we need to, we're gonna have to have an
Reconsider the vote.
have an executive session and deal with this issue.
Why, it's concerning public tribal land, why would we go in executive session?
Because it has to do with somebody's signature, employees and stuff like that, no matter what's going on in here, who stamped this, who signed it, who forged somebody's initials. That pertains to.
That's a
the
separate,
staff,
that's a separate matter.
Well,
That's a separate matter.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, it pertains to the decision of this thing, that's part of it.
Well, my motion doesn't pertain to none of that. My motion is to reconsider the vote,
I understand, that's
and I
what.
believe
That's
I require a second.
Okay, Bill's got a motion on the table, on the floor.
I'll second that.
Hey, Bill, can you restate your motion?
My motion is to reconsider the vote that gave Ricky Crutcher the lease to H13. And motions for reconsideration require a two-thirds vote, so just so you know.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Motion to reconsider the vote that gave Rick the seconded. If not, take a vote. All for?
Billy,
Against?
Wake up.
Abstain? Two abstentions. Okay, the vote was 2 for, 3 against, and 2 abstentions.
Quick question for you. I just want to confirm, chairwoman is removed?
Yes.
Okay, and you are taking the responsibility of the chairman now? Okay. Thank you.
Is that, what is the council?
Yes, Chairman job is.
that's not what our constitution allows.
You know, I have something to say. No matter what we do, we're always gonna get stuck on this 2/3 vote if it's not squared up. That's why I try to say, let's get these individuals in here to make that clarification. And if it's not clear, we're still gonna argue, just like Billy said, you have to have 2/3 on, you know, on Ricky's lease. And that's what I would like to see, somebody else coming in on their opinions, who is familiar with it, like our judge, like Wes, like Barbara. I've been trying to say that all along, but nobody's listening. I'll go ahead and make that motion, and I don't know when, our next meeting's gonna be to clarify this up. Because we're gonna be fighting, and it has to be for the records for our minutes, and that's why it was brought up before.
Now then, we took care of it by removing our chairman.
Yeah, but see,
The vote's for.
I've been trying to say that, and it's the same thing that came up when we took the vote on it, and it didn't make no change. It's still the same thing.
For.
And
That's what
how-
was decided
that's how
in Rick's
it was.
motion.
Really, listen, it was like that on October 26th meeting, and now the votes are the same. And I want a clarification on it from somebody that knows it, not from you, not from the council member, from these, people that knows the system, the attorneys.
Better just all your business with you, everyone.
That was limited in the fact that that's why I was asking what the vote was for.
But it's
And
still
I was
not.
told for.
According to the Constitution, you have to appoint another council
Well,
member
see,
to
that's
make
what it's
that
supposed to
2/3.
have happened, see, and it didn't happen. Like, now, we have Arlo here, see, the council's supposed to vote on it, like, if she's removed, and then the chairman's supposed to have, you know, how we're gonna have a vote the next person in, or is it gonna be posted?
He asked, are we gonna declare the seat vacant? Nobody responded to him.
I didn't hear that, I was too busy writing.
Wake up.
Well, we can still do that.
Because there's a conflict, Billy, I don't know, you know, you're, always saying you're familiar with the law, but, you know, I can read, and I've been to school, and when you read your Robert Rules of Order, there's a portion in there that's kind of throwing me off, where like, on October 26th, you know, the council had the prerogative to annul it, but they didn't. So, but I know for a fact, as being serving on the council, the Constitution bylaw, it's the Bible to the tribe. It overrules all, everything, like, Stockman Association, judicial, you name it. It's an umbrella for all these little stuff that we adopt. So I want a clarification before, you know, we go any further, because it's always gonna be a problem down the line.
So what do you want your motion to state now?
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we get Barbara, Ferguson's opinion, Wes Williams, and our chief judge.
You just listened to Wes Williams a little while ago.
But that's his opinion. We need some more opinion from other two individuals. Cause this is important. It's not just, you know, on behalf of the council, it's you people too that is gonna clarify the 2/3 vote. Because everybody is interpreting it different. But the way, you know, it was said in court, the way I remember, is not the way, you know, people are saying the way it's supposed to be.
I'll second that motion. Okay, second, Rick. Any other discussion on the matter?
And I just have one thing to say, Arlo, kami kung yung nanganig kami, kami dahil no officer si Hawan Eko, no secretary Eko, issued people na because humanig in, you know, where people are asking for assistance. We gotta run it right. And if we're not gonna run it right, you know, I might as well just leave, resign. But I wanna see things run right, because, you know, I'm an elder and I've been sitting on this council for ages.
I thought we just made precedents that for is a two-thirds vote, and then you wanna go and do these people.
Well, I just made a motion that we get those people in to give their opinion on it. That way it won't be questioned down in the future again. But just like Billy's saying, you have to have a 2/3 vote to discuss, Ricky's situation. And we have to have that person in here, whatever her name is, Shelby, to defend herself. And this council is not a game. It's something that runs the law for our reservation.
You sound like we're making it into a game.
Anything else? Anyone else? If not, I take a vote.
Arlo,
Oh,
I just have a question and not really understanding what's happening, but it sounds like you're saying that Maxine was taken out. It sounds like there's argument about Robert's Rules of Order. There's also, something in Robert's Rules of Order of when you can reconsider something. And it's supposed to happen within the same meeting or the next following meeting. So if you guys voted again to remove her, then you're outside of Robert's Rules of Order, and you guys need to look at that. The other thing I wanted to know is, since you guys have removed her, we have people that still are sending in their applications for the net spend thing. Who is supposed to do the reloading? None of us can do it.
Well, that's why I want that clarification, Valerie, because we have to clear this up, this 2/3 vote.
Well, who's gonna do the reloading of the net spend? Because we have tribal members, I know a lot of you have already had your payment, and most of the council members also. But what about the tribal members that haven't had that opportunity yet? Who's gonna reload their money?
How soon is this gonna be anyways? You're gonna just sit and sit and sit?
Checks.
The sooner the better, because I want a clarification on this.
Like I said, you gotta just run your business, what you're doing.
If we all don't understand that, it's not gonna work, because we're always gonna argue, hey, all 8 of you people are supposed to vote. But then according to the Constitution bylaw, it says you can have 5 to have a quorum. That's the kind of clarification I want, in my opinion. I already know it, but I wanna see what those people have to say to get a clarification. Already made a motion, and I don't know if there was a second to it or not.
second, then, call for a vote. All four? Bill?
Against?
Against? Okay,
if Galvin's question has been answered.
Well, whoever has to sit in that seat is gonna have to take care of it. Just like normal, just like anything else.
Until this is.
How long is that gonna take?
You don't have no idea till whoever gets in the seat and sits in there and finds out.
Okay, so we just tell people, well, we don't know when you'll get your money, but you'll get it sometime.
Well, that's the part of it, that whoever sits in this seat is gonna have to get with the rest of the staff and get updated on things. That's how it kind of normally, I believe it normally operates, is that you come together and you get with your staff and see how this thing works and see how it's done and see what you have to do, work together to get this thing accomplished. That's how I believe things normally work, or do they not?
And how long is it gonna take for somebody to sit in that seat?
Well, that depends on
What's the election?
Until council
it
election?
depends on the council.
We can extend their deadline for their debt spend.
I think the deadline.
Yeah.
They can extend
The
it.
ninth.
There's a night,
Tonight?
this Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday.
Just like Laurie said, they're not gonna
Okay.
take it serious
So,
because they already
we
got
got
the
done with
money.
that part of it, and, now I guess the council's gonna have to decide how we're gonna move forward on this.
Well, the ones that sit here and complain about the chairman all the time, they should put their names in. Hey, I just the trouble member and non-trouble member.
Okay, council, what's your, how you guys wanna move forward on this, being that the chairman?
Councilman is the meeting of the city to resolve this. You contact the people.
Yes, we can vote people anyway, and then I'll vote by the council. I'll set a date. See what we can get.
Arnold, when you guys voted, can the next person sit in that seat right there until the next election, till the election, when that's, got the next vote, how many votes they get, can that person be there until the next election? That's how you should do it that way?
Anybody can say.
So that's what we're
And
talking
the people
about.
that complain about the way up there.
You can, or you can vote.
I believe that's what the Constitution says, is that you can appoint.
Our next chairman should not have a bad record either.
So just confirm, Marlo, you are taking the responsibilities of the chairman as of this time? Because I need to know, because I have to notify my higher ups in my district.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that Arlo be our chairman until our
Next election.
Oh, God, please don't. Please don't.
Malina, just make the motion for him to be the chairman, don't say until whatever, because we might not know when that until whatever is gonna happen.
Till next election. It's only this year.
Arlo he will just take the duties of the church.
I move to make Arnold our tribal chairman.
There was a motion on the floor, Bill, Lorena.
Yeah, now there's two. I'm going by parliamentary procedure, I get the right to make a subsidiary motion. the second motion first, it's the subsidiary motion. Parliamentary procedure, I heard all this whole time, now we don't go by it.
Well, you disagree with it, so why are you using it?
Because you guys overruled on it.
I'll second
You just said don't turn this into a game.
Yeah. Okay, second. Rick. All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor? Bill, how's your vote?
In favor.
Against? Abstain? Okay, Bill, the vote was 5-4-0 against, 2 abstentions.
Then I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Okay, now, how are we gonna go against, how are we gonna go about? Declare this position vacant, or how do you guys want to go about it?
You want to start vacant, or you gonna wait till you see what goes
Well, that's what I'm asking, how do you want to do it? You want to wait till you?
Why would we wait? We've moved her for that purpose, right? Why? I move that we appoint the next person, highest voted person.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion, Arlo, that, we wait till, after the meeting.
We have Bill's motion. Okay, there's a motion on the table from Bill to appoint the next highest vote. Any other discussion? If not, okay. The second from Bonnie. All in favor?
Billy?
2. Okay, against? Against? Abstain? Okay, Bill, it was 2-0-4.
So the motion passes?
Motion passes. Okay, Bill, the name of the person will be confirmed and then we'll notify.
Is that partial then?
They confirm it, then we'll give it. Okay, we got that taken care of now. Anything else, council?
Can take care of Carrie's.
Yes, that's what I was asking you guys first, and then, okay, we'll get to Terry, Okay, Terry. You got the floor.
Thank you for having me today.
Excuse me, Chairman? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
do you need me still?
No, we don't, Wes, I don't believe we need.
Okay,
But we'll be getting in contact with you though.
okay, all right, you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
So thank you for hearing me today. I had to request to add this item to the agenda because the deadline is on February 10th for this grant application. It's for the Association for Tribal Archive and Library Museums. And it's a grant application that allows us to have humanities projects for tribal folklore institutions. And so the project that it's up to $50,000, and that's the amount that I requested on the budget. The project title will be Kaonotushu Hima Mashimishu. And the idea is that we would go to different archival repositories around the country and make copies of everything that we can find that is relevant to the history and the culture of the folk Paiute tribe. And so the project start date is a short, it's kind of a last minute grant. So the project start date is March 15th, and the idea is that we would send a team of folk Paiute tribal members and staff to 4 archival repositories around the U.S. to collect scans, photos, and knowledge from existing historical and cultural collections relevant to the tribe. And so this team will be composed of 9 people. There will be 2 high schoolers that will serve as research trainees, 2 college students who will be research fellows, and all of those will be tribal members, 2 staff members who will be research associates, 2 elders who will serve as cultural specialists, and myself as director. I should say that one of the elements of the presentation is that they want to have professionals, especially people who have scholarly practice of research and archive, and so I believe my participation would help make this project funded. The 4 repositories that I selected, there is the National Archives Administration in DC, the National, and that's for the early papers on the